Oh yeah, welcome back to the channel, friends. As always, man, I'm stoked to see you. So today we're gonna be looking at an entire MOI. We're gonna break this thing down shotgun style, as it were. That way you can be better prepared as you're continuing to move forward, because I don't know how many times I've heard people say it. I didn't get a copy until like 3 days before the board. So I'm putting you on notice. You're getting your MOI right now. Now yours might be a little different. It's going to be 90% the same. I think you'll see that your MOIs are going to be about 90% the same. So get a copy of yours and share some comments down below about how similar or different that they are. And hey, that's what this channel is all about. Professional development and putting things in your kit bag that quite honestly didn't get put into my kit bag. If that's what you're into as well, man, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell so that you can stay up to date on future content. And we're going to talk about areas that you really need to pay attention to. And I'm going to share that I'm going to submit to you that I think 85–90% of all MOIs are going to be built the exact same way, same subject areas. So if you haven't gotten one, then just stand and take notice here. I'm giving you your MOI. I'm putting you on notice. Start getting ready for your dadgum promotion. So I think you'll notice, all MOIs, they're going to begin with some references, and then they're going to go over what they want in. So here we have all of our references here, and we move down into what we want in the packets. So typically your board packet, and this is something, whether you're an individual soldier, but especially if you're a team chief, start building packets now in advance for your soldiers, right? You're going to have a soldier bio. Typically you're going to have a DA Form 705 and a weapons qualification card. Some units like ours, they may want your DLC 1 or 2, whichever one has been required for your rank and grade. And then an updated SRB. And your unit may have more. And don't get me wrong, get a copy of your battalion's MOI, okay? Do that. But until then, we're going to talk about this one. So this one goes on to say, on the date of the promotion board, candidates and sponsors are going to be present for a pre-board inspection conducted by the sponsors. And then hit down in here that all promotion board candidates will appear in ASUs. Pregnant soldiers who cannot wear their ASUs will wear their Army or combat uniform ensemble, but are required to bring their ASUs with all awards and decorations for them for inspection. And then it goes into the responsibility, right? So the candidates need to ensure that they've made every attempt for a successful board appearance. And then sponsors will ensure that their candidate is ready for the promotion board and will sponsor them. Sponsors who are unable to attend have the next higher echelon, right? So if your team chief can't be there, then it should be your squad leader, your section sergeant. If they can't be there, then your platoon sergeant, etc. And then it goes down into the S1. Is going to ensure that soldiers who submit their packets are given the opportunity to update their records, right? And first sergeants are required to conduct mock boards and ensure that soldiers are properly prepared before the promotion date. And board members will prepare a minimum of 3 questions per topic area, and they will prepare a minimum of 2 per topic on situational questions in the areas of sexual harassment, suicide prevention, misuse of drugs or alcohol, physical and mental fitness, failure to attend a non-commissioned officer professional development study, and a subordinate's decision to re-enlist. Now that's one of the new changes, right? This is one of the new changes right there. And I think what you're going to see out there is what we do a lot in our battalion. Every question is situational. Not just those areas. Every question is situational. And when I say every question, I mean like 9 out of 10 questions are situational. And we'll move on. And below are the subject areas that the promotion board and members will cover during the promotion board, right? So here we go. Here's all the subject areas. This is what you've been waiting on. What do I need to study? So the president of the board is going to ask things like, for the creed of the non-commissioned officer, the soldier's creed, your unit history and awards, the Army song, your song for your branch, the chain of command, NCO support channel, and then maybe, they have something like the Message to Garcia or some other book that's on their recommended reading list. And then now we go into our individual subject areas. I mean, you should have one subject area per company. All right, so subject area 1 is the Army, which is ADP 1. Army leadership is the next one, that's ADP 6-22. The ERS, or the Evaluation Reporting System, and NCOERs, so that's AR 623-3 and DA PAM 623-3. Map reading and land navigation, TC 3-25.26, and risk management, ATP 5-9. All those subject areas are going to be owned by one company first sergeant. Moving down into subject area number 2, holistic health and fitness. That's brand new, right? FM 7-22. Army programs, so we're talking about ACS, BOSS, sponsorship, and SEDC. Field hygiene and sanitation, that's going to be TC 4-02.3, military justice, AR 27-10. Salutes, honors, and visits of courtesy, and of course that's AR 600-25. Moving down into subject area 3, the Army Body Composition Program, which is AR 600-9. The counseling process, which is ATP 6-22.1. First aid, of course, that's TC 4-02.1. Protection, which is ADP 3-37. Training units and developing leaders, and that's ADP 7-0. And so that was subject area number 3. Now we'll move on into subject area number 4, which is Army Command Policy, EO and SHARP programs. That's, of course, AR 600-20. Drill and ceremonies, TC 3-21.5. Health promotion, risk reduction, and suicide prevention, which is DA PAM 600-24. Rifle and carbine, that's TC 3-22.9. And the wear and appearance of military uniforms and insignia, which is AR 600 or 670-1 and DA PAM 670-1. And we're going to come back to the real quick, but on the back side of this, ours discusses how each company will rotate from subject area depending on the month. And then the board schedule, so we have all of ours listed out for 6 months at a time. So we know as first sergeants every time when the board's going to be put into place, and we have a POC, a point of contact, and of course it's signed by the battalion command sergeant major. So on all of these areas, right? On all of these areas, what do we need to know? At the end of the day, like what's the most important ones on here to know? If you can only know, like really study, and you can't study all of them, maybe you don't have time. What do you need to know? So I'm going to address that one, and I'm going to address the composition of our subject areas. Right, so our subject area has I think, a strong mix between ARs and FMs and ADPs. For a while, of course, we didn't have ADPs, so everything was ARs and FMs. And then all of a sudden, the Army started rolling out all of these ADPs and ADRPs, and some battalions went to nothing but ADPs and ADRPs. And I think that they were missing out on a lot. Because you're not going to get map reading, right? You're not going to get rifle and carbine. You're not going to get drill and ceremony. There's a lot of boots hits the ground, rubber meets the road. This is what NCOs do. You're not going to get those unless you start digging into the FMs. So I think that we have a fairly good composition of FMs and ARs, as well as the ADPs and ADRPs. And I think if you look at yours, you probably share some very good similarities with what ours are. Either way, man, leave some comments down below and let me know how similar or different your battalion's MOI is. Now, what do you need to know? Right, because although my MOI says I need to ask a minimum or prepare a minimum of 3, odds are I'm going to be able to ask 2, because that's a lot of subject areas, man. That's a lot of stinking subject areas. So, you need to know, know about your board members. What makes them tick? What did the previous, do your reconnaissance, right? Talk to the dudes who were in the board last month. Talk to them. What should you expect? So I'm going to tell you right now, you can maybe squeal your way around things like protection. But if you miss Army leadership, if you can't answer questions about leadership, situational or otherwise, man, you got to get moving, right? Come back next time. Come back in 90 days, whatever it is, right? So, man, you have to be able to talk about the Army. You have to be able to talk about Army leadership. I think you really need to be able to talk about and know some basics about map reading and land navigation, which should be too easy for most people. You need to be able to talk about PT. So now we're talking about holistic health and fitness, and that's just changed, and I'll work on a video for that one. But you need to be able to talk about FM7-22. You need to talk about Army programs. You need to know about Army programs. Even if you don't know what the reg says, if you have a soldier who needs help, you need to know where ACS is. You need to know how they operate and what kind of programs and assistance they can offer service members and their families, right? You need to be able to talk about the boss and sponsorship in SUD-C, because you are literally where the rubber hits the road on these areas. You need to be able to talk about customs and courtesies, right? You should know about military justice. You should definitely, you'll get hemmed up, especially if you're a sergeant and going to become a staff sergeant, if you don't know much about the ABCP program. You can't miss counseling, right? You can't miss counseling. You have to be able to talk about counseling in the same way that you talk about Army leadership. You need to own those two, right? You need to own those two. 100%. Spot on. Pump the board members up on those two different areas. Of course, you need to be able to talk about drill and ceremony, rifle and carbine, and 670-1. Right? And yes, that might be it's probably 50% of the subject areas I would say are most important. But really, if it comes down to the gusto that's required for two areas, leadership, counseling, things that you do as an NCO. If you do it, if you see your leaders doing it, you need to own it. Listen to me, friends. You got to own it, man. Hey, if you enjoyed the content of this video, make sure you smash that like button. And if you think somebody else needs to hear and see what's on MOI and get a first sergeant's, a board member's perspective on it, go ahead and share this thing as well. Leave some comments down below and let me know what you think. Again, let me know how similar or different your MOIs are, and we can keep this conversation rolling and continue to learn from each other, because that's what it's all about. And if that's what you're into and you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so you can stay up to date on some future content. As always, until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay still.